Hello guys, how you doing? Sterna-Man coming back here again. And I wanted to talk a little about politics. I as you may or may not know, this year actually is an election year. It's the midterm elections coming up in, I believe, November of this year. And a lot of people might not know that because a lot of people just think, well, if it's not the president, if you're not going to vote for the president, then it's not an election. But yes, there is an election year. So my advice or my recommendation to all of you, all of my subscribers, is if you're not into politics, I can't stress enough to please get into politics. Register to vote. Find out more information about your governors and who's representing you. Find out as much information as you can. Because whenever I was younger, whenever I was like a young adult, whenever I first became a young adult, whenever I first came like 18, 19 or so, I always wanted to get into politics, but I didn't know how because, CNN and Fox News stuff, they all bored me. And I didn't really, at the time, about 20 years ago, I honestly couldn't tell you the difference between a Republican and a Democrat. So now what I can say is the main difference is a Democrat is basically for expanded governments, expanded programs. Some of these programs help people out and are very good. Some of them not as good. And Republicans are more for smaller government. They believe in people, as the saying goes, pulling themselves by the bootstraps. Leaving people to fend for themselves and whatnot. And that's basically the general difference between them. But anyway, if I was to go back in time and give myself advice, well, it's easier to get into politics now than it was back in 20 years or so ago, because now there's so much more information about it, But if I was to give you, my subscribers, advice, the main advice I would say is don't go into the mainstream media. Don't go on CNN, Fox News and stuff. Go for try to seek out independent commentators. And that's where I come in. I've got a list of six YouTube personalities that I either follow or I know of, and I have high recommendations of. And if you're just barely getting into politics, this is where I would start. And the reason I have 6 is I have 3 that lean Republican, and then I have 3 more that lean Democrat. So that's another piece of advice I want to give you is don't just get one side of the story. Try to get as much out of both sides of the story you can. That way you can have both sides of the story, and you can kind of draw your own conclusion from both sides of the story to see which side better represents you. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the ones who lean Democrat. The first recommendation I have is David Pakman. That's David, David, Pakman, Pakman. He's more of a straight lance kind of guy. He basically tells the news, and he's very good for someone he's very good for someone who's not as vocal. He doesn't rage, and he doesn't lose his temper, but he just basically gives a plain, dry opinion of his version of the news. And like I said, he leans Democratic. Okay, and the second one, my second recommendation that leans Democratic is Secular Talk. That's Secular, Secular, Talk, Talk. This is another very good Democratic progressive kind of commentator, and I recommend him. Just check out some of his videos, check out some of his reviews, see if it's good, if it's like a good fit for you. And lastly, on the Democratic side, is Ring of Fire, RING, Ring of OF Fire, FIRE. And this is pretty much my main go-to as far as political news. Now, sometimes he kind of, the newscaster Farron Cousins, he kind of loses his temper. He goes off the cuff sometimes. Sometimes he lets a little bad word here and there slip, but he gives the news as he sees it. And another good thing that I like about him is he works in like law firms, so he's very familiar with like the law side of politics. And as with all three of these can be easily found on YouTube. Okay, so now I'm going to give you 3 names that lean more Republican. The first name is Tim Pool, Tim, Pool, Pool. Now Tim, he's got like 3 different kinds. He covers like the most news that I've ever seen anyone cover. He's got that channel I just said, Tim Pool. He's got his Timcast channel, and Timcast IRL, which is like a podcast where he talks with guests. So he's nice to listen to. He's fun. The second one that I recommend is Styx Hexenhammer 666. It's STYXHEXENHAMMER 666, and he makes videos not only on YouTube but on also other platforms like BitChute, Rumble, Minds, and he also makes videos occasionally about like occult topics, and he's also an author. If you can find some of his work, you can find some of his works on Amazon under the name, I think, Tar Warwick. But he's also a good political commentator that I like to listen to. And last but not least is the one my wife listens to. It's Walter Wayburn. Walter, WALTER, Wayburn, WEYBURN. And I don't know very much about this one, but my wife does listen to him every morning. That's how she gets her news, and she recommended him. And like I said, these are just like my recommendations if you want to kind of like dip your toe into politics. There's other commentators you can even seek out for yourself. For example, like there's I believe the Young Turks. There's Ben Shapiro. There's others. The Dollamore Daily. All of those, would be good. Like if it all depends on like what you like and what you decide is good for you. But these are my 6 recommendations, and they're all available on YouTube. But like I say, the main point of this video is I want to advise like all of my subscribers and my fans to just get into politics, and just follow that. And I've even got some fans, I'm told, from Australia and like I'm assuming other parts of the world. Follow politics in your part of the world as well. Get involved in it, because you're getting involved in like the future and your future. You're getting involved in your future, and you should have a say in who you want to be running your country. So please, I advise everyone, get out, get involved in politics, register to vote, and hear both sides of the story. Make up your mind on who you want to follow. I'm not going to give anyone I'm not going to tell anyone how to vote, but I'm just going to say to get involved and be more active. Thank you for watching.